Hello and welcome to this episode of Women of Nerd Culture. We are the Women of Nerd Culture. My name is Sarah, and as ever, the lovely Becca is with me.
Hello.
Now, Becca is very excited and has been looking forward to this episode for so long. So I'm going to hand it over to her for the intro.
Yes, so thankfully, Sarah's finally allowed me to do this episode, and it's the season that we can finally do this episode because I've been going on about it for a very, very long time. And this week's or this fortnight's episode is we are diving into the creepy, campy, and sometimes ridiculous and always nostalgic world of point horror books. If you were a kid in the 90s hunting through your school library, your local library book fair, you probably saw these like slim paperback book titles with things like The Cheerleader, Trick or Treat, or The Babysitter. And how I describe point horror is basically point horror was young adult stories launched by Scholastic, but they are like how do I describe it? They were basically the young adult cousin to Stephen King and Christopher Pike. That is the only way that I can describe them. They are very fast paced. They're short. They're basically normally with teenagers, usually with a stalker, sometimes supernatural, but the ending is always a twist. And I was very privileged when I was a kid to have a cousin who had pretty much all these books. So thank you, Hayley. I am still in your debt all these years later for the fact that you had every version, and eventually my mum started buying them. So this is why I ended up with lots of them. And for anyone who's an audio listener, I am holding up about 10 books so that you can see. I have quite a lot of them. Sarah's got one of my omnibuses of little sort of short stories. But yes, we are talking about point horror, and I think because it's Halloween, happy Halloween, everybody.
Well,
I've well, when this goes out, it'll
when
be
this goes out, we're recording it on Halloween,
yes,
and it'll be,
tomorrow,
um, yeah, All Hallows Day.
All Hallows Day. So happy Halloween to anyone who celebrates it. But yes,
Hmm.
we thought it was probably a perfect time to kind of delve into 90s nostalgia because every now and then you just need to. Um,
Yeah.
when I said we were doing this episode, Sarah, what did you think was going to happen? What kind of stories did you think they were?
Oh. Well, the thing is, I did actually read a few when I was like a teenager or around that age. So I kind of knew, but I'd only read a handful. So I had no idea how many there actually were when I looked into it.
Yes. They
Yeah.
literally there are so many of these stories. But there's like a massive like roster of authors. You've got R.L.
Mhm.
Stine, you've got Diana Ho, you've got Caroline B. Cooney, Richard Tankersley, Cusack, and each of them kind of had a different style. Um, but yeah, I didn't realize until I was looking back just how much R.L. Stine had in this sort of storyline.
Mhm.
Um, but I absolutely love these books because what I liked about them not only was the fact that they were quite cheap. They were only what £2.99 back in the day. Um, I felt like they were a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
Like Goosebumps were for kids, but Point Horror was for teens. And obviously around that time, you kind of wanted those books that you could you know, these were the books that you could hide under the bed so that your mum wouldn't freak out about the creepy covers because the covers were so iconic. When
Yeah.
when we were talking about this, what cover came straight to your head when you were thinking about it?
Well, to be honest, you know what? The covers, they reminded me of like the 70s and 80s art styles for
Yeah,
movies like The Thing.
yes,
But in a more like slightly more basic style. You
yes,
know, like the lifeguard sitting on the white high set
yeah,
chair, and you can tell he's looking at something, but you can't quite tell what he's looking at.
yeah,
And it's a bit creepy. It's like he's meant to be the one that's there to save you, but you just get this unsettling feeling
yeah,
about the picture you're seeing. It's like a lot of them as well. One that sticks in my mind is they seem to just have like hands visible, like the hand is reaching for
Yeah.
something, or it's reaching out of something, like the ones reaching through the ice with the blood around the wrists, or what's that one? I've forgotten the name of
Oh,
that
I
book.
can't
But
remember.
you know which one I'm
Yeah,
referring
yeah,
to.
yeah.
It's the set of hands coming out from like a lake and that's frozen over, and there's blood around the wrists and stuff. There's a one that holds a phone receiver just up in the air, um, you know, possibly reaching for help or possibly reaching to grab somebody or something like that.
Yeah, that's the ones that I remember is they, but what I like about the books, the covers, they're very, very simple. They are
Yes.
so simple, you know. When you've got different things on them, like you've got the perfume one, it's literally
Hmm.
got a creepy bottle of a perfume.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the girlfriend, it's got like a love letter saying "Be mine always" and a rose.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of the beach house one. It's literally got a beach house and like the ocean and some glasses.
Yeah.
They are just so simple in how they do it. I absolutely adore these ones because I do think these were my gateway books into what later became Book Talk and my obsession with dragons and you know, Akatar and Fourth Wing. I think these are my gateways into them.
Right.
Um but yeah, I just love, it's not even like the book covers themselves, it's like the fonts, the neon colours. You've got the basics of like the 90s. You've got the you've got the old fashioned phones,
Hmm.
and the fact that you've got like the 90s fashion on it. You've got like the big sweaters, the scrunchies, the mum jeans. You could literally date each book just by the outfit. Even now I think, oh okay, right, that one was in that year because they ran from like the 80s all the way through until like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize because obviously I probably stopped reading them probably around 2002 maybe. And yeah, I just love the fact that even now you can look through them and you're like, oh okay, so that's really early 90s. That one's slightly later. Um, the one you were on about with the ice
Hmm.
freeze tag.
Freeze tag, that was the
That's
one.
the one. It's taken
Yeah.
me a moment. I was like, okay, I know it's a game because it's not exactly what you think, but it's freeze
Hmm.
tag. That is the one. But I've lent you the book, with the 13 stories. How far did
Hmm.
you get into reading? Did you manage to read them all in the end?
I read about 10 of them. I did read about 10 of them. Um, I mean, for those who don't know, they are like shorter versions of the actual novels. They're like creepy stories that are like what, 20 to 30 pages
Yeah,
long.
yeah, they're not
Um,
many.
no, no, no. I really enjoyed the Devil's Footprints actually because it kind of made me wonder. I don't know if it's just me thinking from like an adult looking into this teenage story, that I was wondering if the main character was just imagining things or if they were really happening
But
rather than just accepting his story if that's what was going on. Um,
that's so on
and
point
also,
horror. That is on point horror because
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
every story has a twist.
Mhm. And it's also I recognize the folklore behind the story because I've read about the Devil's Footprints before,
Yeah,
like but in the folklore sense. So like when unknown footprints were left all over a village, they were like walking through a field and then all of a sudden they were on top of a building which was like 20 foot high or something, and
yeah,
then they walked over the roof and jumped over the other side, and they were known as the Devil's Footprints then as well. So it just kind of like I like how they've taken the folklore and put like a more modern twist on it,
yeah,
modern for the time. I believe
yeah,
that was like a mid-90s book
yeah,
story.
yeah,
um but yeah, yeah, and it even offered a suggestion for the reason of what happened in the end as well, which I found interesting because it's a decision that like you can either offer the reason or you can just leave it up to the reader's imagination.
yeah,
And it's a mixture I find in the point horror series. Sometimes they do just leave it, sometimes they do give you the explanation,
yeah,
which
yeah.
I quite like the fact that they tried to offer an explanation, although even with that in place, I still wasn't sure if I believed it.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's very much leading to a lot of the tropes in the books. It's the
Hmm.
fact that you have like the same type of stories, but they're reimagined.
Hmm.
You normally have the Babysitter in Peril.
Hmm.
You've got the mysterious new kid. You've got the creepy phone calls. You've got the old house with the
Yeah.
dark secret, and I just love it. And the fact that they do imagine it each time. But I've read some of those stories, but
Hmm.
my favorite is actually one called Nightmare Hall.
Right.
It's a slightly different one because it's more of a grown, I would say it's a more grown up one, because they had a
Hmm.
whole series that basically it's from D.G. Quinn, I believe, and it's it's called what's it called? Basically, it's set in a university, so it's obviously different because a lot of the point horror ones are normally set in like high school, secondary school.
Yeah.
Um, but then I apologise. Deanne Ho wrote these. I don't know where I got the other name from, but Deanne Ho, she basically started it in 1993, and it's called Nightmare Hall. And when I originally read it, it wasn't part of a series of books. It was literally just the first one, and it's called The Silent Scream.
Hmm.
It's like it's set at Salem University, a fictional New England college.
Yeah.
Um, and basically it's think Scream meets Saved by the Bell, the college years,
All right.
but
Yeah.
bloodier. But the premise is Jess cannot believe her luck when she gets accepted into the exclusive Nightingale Hall until she learns that a student was murdered there last year. As strange accidents happen, Jess starts to fear the killer has returned. And it is literally, it's your classic college slasher, new friends, old secrets, someone is watching you, um, and there's a plot twist.
A
It's
twist.
a plot twist. And it's a bit. I think I like this one because it is the perfect transition from the normal point horror to more mature, young adults. And this one is
Mm.
always stuck with me because when I was researching this, I didn't actually realize that the Nightmare Hall series ran for 20 books supposedly.
Oh.
It covers haunted dorms, secret societies, cursed performances, ghostly revenge. I have about six of them here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I've got seven of them here. But supposedly they ran for a lot more ones. But this one has always stuck with me more than any other point horror story. And don't get me wrong, I love the Cheerleader. That is my OG point horror book. But Nightmare Hall stuck with me because it leaves you thinking at the end, very much like the story that you said,
Hmm.
is is it supernatural or is it just a scary guy? You do not know, even by the end of this story, if there's a supernatural element or not. And I love that. Absolutely love that. But yeah, do you have any other episode, any other book in this series that you think, oh, I really like?
Well, even just still going back to those 13 stories, there was a couple in there that I quite liked because I thought the cat dogs was an interesting one because it kind of like hints at certain things happening to the narrator, which it's kind of like you're just starting to get into that in your like early teens. You're starting to get into that where you can have like goriness happening in books.
Yeah,
And although it doesn't go into the details of what happens, it kind of just leaves it
yeah,
at a point where it's like there's really no other outcome that it could be at this point, so it leaves it completely open to your imagination.
yeah, yeah.
But the situation that she finds herself in, it's like there isn't anything else to imagine apart from that.
Okay, it's been a
You
very,
see
very
what I
long
mean?
yeah,
It leaves it open to the imagination whilst directing your imagination.
yeah. Which is an
Um,
interesting one because that is, to be fair, that is point horror to a T. Like
yeah.
it yes, it's a young adult book series, but it
Hmm.
doesn't act like teenagers are thick.
No,
It doesn't do that.
no.
It doesn't do that. It really doesn't treat them like they're thick. It gives
Hmm.
it's a very I would say it's a more mature book series than what people expect. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I liked how I mean, I personally picked up a load more this time around as an adult on the pure manipulation of the piano and the what's it called, the creepy house one where he's not allowed to leave. Um, I've forgotten the name of that one, but he comes across an abandoned house and he sees that it's been well taken care of, and he's not allowed to leave the house. He has to constantly make repairs and just kind of
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
live. I can't remember,
Yeah,
but it's in your short stories anyway. Um, do you remember the first point horror you read?
Oh, The Babysitter. Without a doubt. Yeah, it was The Babysitter, and it's an R.L. Stine one. So it's
Yeah,
basically Jenny takes a babysitting job, and soon realizes she's made a very terrible mistake. The house is dark, creepy, strange phone calls happen, and there's a prowler outside. This is one of R.L. Stine's like earliest point horror titles,
yeah.
and it always features in people's top fives. You know, it's literally the classic teen horror setup: isolated house, threatened and unknown,
Yeah.
babysitter in and over her head. Um, this is possibly the one that most people recognize, and that's probably why I remember it, because it was one of the first ones.
I believe it's one of the first ones that I read as well. I didn't read a lot when I was a teenager, but I did read a few. And actually, while I was looking into this, I found a few that I kind of went, "Oh, hang on, I did read that one as well."
Yeah, and to be fair, right, when I asked this on TikTok, I asked this on Instagram, and I asked this on the Nerdy Up North Facebook group community, and so many people went, I remember that book series, and I'm collecting it now. I've been
Yeah.
inspired to collect it recently, and I'm like, yes, people are trying to like read this, because obviously a lot of people have kind of, we are feeling nostalgic for the 90s at the
Mhm.
moment. You know, the world is a mess.
We always feel nostalgic for the 90s.
Everything is a mess. The world's gone wrong. And people are looking at things like this. And there are so many people looking at point horror. And I love the fact that people were getting so excited over this. And it was the same stories that were coming up, like Trick or Treat, The Cheerleader. I can't remember what were some of the other ones that were there. The Lifeguard, that was another one. The
Yeah.
Train. They were
I believe
just,
The Lifeguard's the first one I actually read.
it's one of the earliest ones that
Yeah.
people remember. But I love these books, and I think I'm so sad that we didn't get the series that people, they were on about developing a series around these
Yes, they
books
were.
in like 2019, I think it was, and
Hmm.
we just didn't get that. Which is a shame, because it would have been amazing, and I feel very much it would have been the right vibe for us, but obviously we all know what happened in
Yeah.
2020. Um but yeah, like I've purchased The Watcher, and
All right.
I,
Yes.
same time, same deadly channel, and I've started reading it, and I'm just like, oh my god, they've got so few channels. I was literally like, oh, that's interesting. Like, if I don't know about anyone else, but I've got like a couple of hundred channels now, and if I was meant to look for one channel, I would be in trouble. Um, and like I'm even like looking at the books. Like I've obviously got a massive pile in front of me. I'm just looking at it, going like, soon, like what the stories that they've got in it. They've got The Diary, they've got Twins, they've got Halloween Night, Silent Witness, and I'm just looking at it, going, I know all these stories. Like, and it's so fascinating looking back at these books, because I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. As I said, I think the first one I read was The Lifeguard, which
Yeah,
is why I picked up on that as the main example for the cover.
yeah.
Um, Now I can't remember the story too well. It's been a long time since I was 11.
It would have been
Um,
it would have been the basic, you know, girl in trouble or girl finds a boy. There's probably, you
I've
know,
got this feeling that there was some suspicious drownings and the lifeguard became the suspect. Because he didn't rescue them, instead he went and drowned them. I'm sure it was something along those lines. Um, but yes, I do remember it being a very early venture into teen horror. Bearing in mind that when we were younger, it wasn't all about the obvious score, although it didn't bother a little. I mean, I think, I'd be more scared of the stories now
Yeah.
because I've had more exposure to what happens in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think I was obviously a little spooked as a teenager, but I don't think I would be as scared if I was a teenager now reading these.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me into the question of, do you think these books stand up as well as they did in the 90s?
Hmm. I think for the younger readers, definitely yes. The thing with it is, I've mentioned this in other podcasts. I've noticed that over the years, parental ratings seem to be getting looser and looser. Like you could, it would be one F-bomb in a movie and it would be an 18, whereas now it's more like an F-bomb in a movie would be a 15. Um, it seems as though you can get away with more violence and more like horror type things, more mystery,
Yeah,
more suspense in a 15 than you could have when in an 18 when we were younger.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I think books are going the same way.
yeah,
Now for me, rereading it, I can see where the creepiness would come in, but it wouldn't creep me out these days, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. No, so I honestly, some do, some don't. A lot of them feel very dated because the plots revolve around landlines, lack of
Landline,
internet, parents being
terrestrial
absent.
TVs.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But in
Mhm.
terms of introducing teens to horror, they are huge.
Yes, I agree.
Um, I think if you read Point Horror, then moved up to Christopher Pike, and then maybe like Stephen King or Anne Rice, I think they are. Um, but I think they're kind of very charming in their point. But
Oh yeah,
do I think they would scare teenagers nowadays? I don't think they would, because the fact is, if they did retellings of these stories now, they'd have internet. Any of these issues would be all over TikTok in like 30
yeah,
seconds.
yes, yes.
The babysitter wouldn't be left by herself
No.
how she was. Um, that wouldn't happen because it's not really a thing nowadays.
Hmm.
You know,
The
um,
thing that I say on that is, uh, in comparison for me would be when I was in year seven, it'll have been what, 1995-ish.
yeah,
We were scared of the sixth formers,
yeah,
even though the sixth formers did nothing to make us scared of them. They were bigger, they had more authority, they were intimidating,
yeah,
even though they were really nice to us.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but by the time I got to about year 10, year 11, we were terrified of the year sevens coming in.
yeah,
I tell you, they were absolute little terrors.
yeah,
They had no fear and they just didn't care what effect their actions had. Um, which can be a good thing in certain cases, I will add that in, but not in a school setting.
yeah.
But yes, that's kind of what makes me think that things of the 90s would not scare the teenagers of today.
No. Okay.
Even seeing that in just 5 years,
Yeah,
seeing that change in 5 years.
yeah. How would you rewrite a story now?
Oh my God.
What would be your perfect point horror? And this doesn't just go for you. I would like in the comments people to kind of suggest what their point horror book would be for the 2000s, the 2020s.
Hmm. Oh my. Well, it's got to be something like social media based, really, to keep it up to date, isn't it?
Yes.
Like an online stalker or somebody that sends like a Facebook message or a TikTok video that says like, "Oh, I can see you, Sarah, sitting at your dining table recording Women of Nerd Culture on this date." Um, um,
Okay, I've got one. Okay.
come on then.
It's called The Follower.
All
The
right, how are
tagline is, she just wanted more followers. Now someone's following her for real.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, now.
Yes. Yes. And I'm gonna do this as a short, so people are gonna have to keep an eye out for this because now that I've suggested it, I now kind of feel like I need to do more.
Yeah, you've
But
got to do that.
I think that would be my perfect point horror book for
Mm.
the 2020s.
So we've kind of gone down the same line there.
Yeah,
Social media being as big as it is these days would really be the thing that
yeah,
that could be used to freak the most people out.
yeah, 100%. And that's the only way that I could see it because you've kind of got there's no other ones that I could do. I can think of that would do it. Unless you've got something around mobile phones, maybe.
Mm. But again, that's kind of going, a lot of people just use their phones for social media
Yeah,
again, so it'd be kind of linked in with that, wouldn't it?
yeah. I don't think life is scary, but it's not scary in the same way
Mm-hmm.
as other things. You could
I
maybe do it
guess,
around photos, maybe.
how about somebody going missing in a day like in today's age where CCTV is everywhere and you find absolutely no trace of them?
That would be a good one. And I
Because
think I think the person,
literally you leave your mark in so many places
yeah,
throughout the day you don't even realize. But for somebody to go completely missing without leaving one single mark,
that would be an interesting one.
yeah,
Or it would be something around like the last selfie or the group
yeah.
chat. That's the kind of one that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
I've now got my brain thinking, oh, okay, I'm thinking of lots of different ones that you could
Mm-hmm.
bring the stories up to date because a lot of these stories are ones that have been told time and time again. They were told in the 60s, they were told in the 70s, they were told in the 90s using
Mm-hmm.
house phones, that type of thing. And I do feel like point horror has its place. It is, I would class them now as cozy little stories, just to read. I feel like they're very cozy vibe stories now. I do because they're not scary. They're not scary,
They're not scary, but I don't know about cozy for me.
Well, we kind of have. I'm the woman that watches murder documentaries.
Yeah. Well, I watch murder documentaries, but I don't watch gore-fest horror movies for fun.
I only watch zombie films. I can't do ghosty stories. I can't do ghosty stories. But yes, I love point horror. There are so many different stories that you can talk about. I do have a top 5. My top 5,
Mm.
excluding Nightmare Hall because that is like my OG one. I love The Babysitter. That is always the top one. That is my top one.
Yeah.
Trick or Treat. I've even got a special edition of it that my mum must have bought me at some point. Because my mum is cool and she does buy me loads of books. So thank you, mum. Um, and that one is actually quite an old one. That is actually from the 80s. It's not one that I
Oh,
actually
as the original
realised.
print.
Yeah, it's actually it's one from the 80s, which I'm like, oh, okay, I quite like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I've got April Fools. I love that one. I'm trying to think what other ones that I've got. I've got Trick or Treat, April Fools, the Cheerleader because Althea, I always wanted to be her. I wanted to be popular, but even if that means befriending a vampire,
Yeah.
um, that possibly started my vampire issues. We can't blame me for that one. The Lifeguard would have been on the list, but it's something about the story that I didn't ever like. The Train. Oh my god, I nearly forgot about the Train then. Hannah and her friends are taking a cross-country train trip to celebrate graduation, but when one of them dies, their friend's coffin becomes the focus of a macabre game. This
Mm.
story is so freaking. It's like isolated setting, psychological horror, and revenge plot. But it's Diane Hole, and she does so many stories that I like. She's
Yeah.
possibly one of my favorite actresses in like this thing. Um, and I do love it that and I am sorry that HBO Max never kind of took this serious and ran with it because it would have been amazing. They could have done so much with it. I could imagine it being very much like Oh, what's that anthology story that I'm thinking of?
Are you thinking of Fear Street?
Might be. Yeah.
What, the one where they did lots of different years on
Yes.
Netflix? Yeah,
Yeah,
Fear
yeah, yeah,
Street.
yeah. It's not quite the one that I was thinking of, but that is the vibe. They could have done something very much like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I've not seen it, so I can't really like say for definite.
yeah. But there are just so many different ones, that
Mhm.
there are so many different stories. And what I didn't realize until I was doing my research is the fact that a couple of them became series itself. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously Nightmare Hall became a massive series. You've got The Forbidden Game that had 3 books. The Babysitter, obviously that had oh,
I saw at least four of those online when I was looking.
yeah. Vampire's Love that had two or three.
Hmm.
Trying to think. Unleashed. Unleashed is slightly different.
Hmm.
But that had many different ones. I'm trying to think what other ones. The Dark that had at least two. But there are just so many different ones, and I didn't realize until my research just how many books there are within it, and just how many amazing authors sort of kind of like
Yes.
got involved in this and sort of started it off.
I was surprised at some of the authors I found in there, like especially like I mean, you've mentioned R.L. Stine there, but even Christopher Pike himself.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm having a child interfering with my camera. Yeah, so like even like Christopher Pike himself and oh God, I had them wrote down. L.J. Smith.
yeah,
L.J. Smith, who also went on to write the Vampire Diaries.
yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea that she'd done them.
See,
Um,
I have a love-hate relationship with her because I love some of her stories, and I don't like how they were transformed onto screen. And
mm,
yeah, I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship, but she's a fantastic author and she deserves all the love in the universe. Um, because she is amazing, and I'm sad that she stopped writing because
well, she passed away.
I really would have loved to see more of the Night World series. For anyone who hasn't seen my love for this author, go back and see our books episode because I tell you, I give you an in-depth look at the Night World series. um,
I mean, yeah, it's very sad. Like, yeah, she just died this year as well, didn't
yeah,
she?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very sad. Bless her. Obviously the reason she took a hiatus from um writing was to take care of her sister's children when her brother-in-law was diagnosed with obviously cancer. And then obviously during that time then her mum died, and bless her, there was just so much
Yeah.
going on. It's just,
Mm.
yeah, sad. But yeah, just so many different like authors. I didn't realize just how many people that later go on to have like massive careers, like R.L. Stine with the Goosebumps series.
Mhm.
You
I
don't.
mean, Christopher Pike did the Midnight Club as well, which what did end up as a series on Netflix,
Yeah,
although I'm a bit sad that they cancelled that after one season.
yeah,
Um, but I really like the concept of that one.
yeah. And I'm trying to think of the other one that I'm trying to think of. But yeah, there's just so many different stories, and each of them bring a different kind of vibe to the books. And
Mhm.
I do think it's interesting that there hasn't been a series since this one to kind of match it. In this kind of
That's
vibe.
so true.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
'cause,
a
like,
collection of authors, not just one.
mhm,
Like you could say like I'm trying to think of Percy Jackson. That's an
mhm,
amazing series, but it's written by one person. It's
yes.
not like a collection of stories. And obviously, if anyone who's listening to this or watching this has a suggestion of what is
What could
could
be
be,
the equivalent of point horror these days?
yeah, please let us know because I'd be very interested in comparing it.
We are open to learning new things.
Yes, and if any of the things that we've said are wrong, please correct us because we are not precious in that type of thing. If we've got something wrong in our research, we will happily correct ourselves, and
Yeah.
you know, we're not funny like that. We like to learn. It's a learning experience.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I love point horror. I'm actually going to, now that I've tracked down all these books, I'm going to get back into reading them, I think, because I've got time.
Yeah.
I've got time again. I'm not doing quite as many projects at the moment, so you know, I can I can read and do different things.
And of course, you recently got one from Bleeding Marvelous,
I
didn't you?
did. Which one? Oh, I got The Watcher.
So Dan from Monsters Up North has a proper business called Bleeding Marvelous, where she sells lots of horror memorabilia, and she's been doing surprise books,
Yeah.
surprise book packages, where you just order from a certain range, and she sends you a surprise book.
And
That book.
I have never jumped on a bandwagon quite as quickly as this, because I love this one. And I got The Watcher, and it's basically she's living a soap opera. Catherine
Hmm.
Belmont watches her favourite soap opera, Lost River, every day. She likes to imagine that she's the beautiful Cassandra Bligh, the star of the show, with gorgeous boyfriends, lovely clothes, and her own red sports car. But little by little, in a strange, frightening ways, her life really starts to echo CB's. Catherine finds herself nervously rushing home to watch the show each day to find out what happens next in her own life. But it's not so great being like CB anymore, because someone is watching her every move and someone wants her dead. Dun dun
Dun,
dun.
dun,
I haven't had the
dun.
chance to read this yet, because
Yeah.
I've been rereading Nightmare Hall, the
Hmm.
Silent Scream and things, but I'm going to read that one, because I do actually think that one could work as a story nowadays. You know, someone's watching EastEnders
Yeah.
or an American soap opera. I don't know. Days of Our Lives, is that still on?
I have no idea. I don't watch soaps.
I don't know. I don't know.
I know there's Coronation Street and I know there's EastEnders
I'm
and
guessing Days of Our Lives still on it. It sounds like a thing. Jill, if you're
Brookside.
watching it, let us know. I can imagine that's still one that's ongoing.
I have no idea. Hmm.
But yes, we would love to hear about what other people think of point horror.
Mhm.
But
Um,
you got anything else that you want to say on point horror, sir?
Not really. I think this
No.
was mainly a you episode
This
because
is,
of
and
how little I
I
actually read.
my my docile tones.
I think I'd only really read like maybe five of them when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Um, which did include freeze tag now that we've mentioned the title.
Yeah.
The babysitter, the cheerleader, the accident, the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, six, and the lifeguard, because I did read that.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, and then the few stories that I've read from your anthology there as well, which
Yes.
I am enjoying. It's kind of like a nice little turn your brain off horror thing.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have to concentrate too hard on what's going on,
Yeah,
which
and that's
is
kind of
good.
nice.
It's a good thing at times, yes. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
because
things that we have to concentrate on, and it's just kind of like when your house is in utter chaos.
yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, we are parents. Between us, we've got 4 children, and it's half term. We are living life on the edge. Okay,
You probably
it's
can hear two of mine running around.
that's okay. That's okay. But yes, that's pretty much our spin on point horror.
Hmm.
And I feel like it's one of those ones. It's a little whistle stop tour of point horror. But if anyone does want to talk more about it, we've got the Nerdy Up North community. You've got the
Hmm.
Discord. We've got the group. Go and talk on there. You will find us. You just search point horror. You will find us,
Yeah.
because I've been speaking about it. But also we've got the comments below.
Yep.
But this
Uh,
week,
Nerdy Up North also do have their book club,
yes,
especially as well. Um, Let us know what favourite point horrors you were. Do you still read them now? Drop us a comment below.
yes. But this week, what have we got on Nerdy Up North? We've got something for everyone. I think. I
Well,
feel like this week.
yeah. First of all, next time for us,
Oh yeah.
we have to do this first.
Yes.
We're gonna do it. We are. We're gonna finally do it. It's finally happened.
Yeah.
We're going up, up,
Up,
up.
up, up.
It's our moment. You know, together we're glowing. We're gonna be golden. We've got someone special coming on to talk about K-pop demon hunters with us. It
Yes.
was only a matter of time really before we actually had to do this. It's been an incredibly popular show in my household and in Becca's household,
Yes.
and in our special guest's household.
Yes. My child watched it twice at the airport while we were waiting for a flight, and then
Yeah.
watched it again when we got to our destination.
Yes, my eldest has been watching it 4 times a day every weekend for the last 4
Yes.
weekends.
So when our special guest Kelly, because Kelly's returning, we're letting her back on the podcast after the
Yep.
book after books. She's finally back. She mentioned it, and we were like, "Yeah, come on."
Yeah, go
How
on, we'll do it.
how could we
We'll
not
do
talk
it.
about a movie that is girl power all the way?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was no way that
Uh,
we weren't gonna let her come on and do it.
yeah. So that's us for next time. That's in 2 weeks' time. As ever, the Nerdy Up North channel, we've got Monster Mondays, there's Top Group Tuesdays, Rumble Past Wednesdays. I believe they just had their last episode out last Wednesday.
Yeah,
There's Anime Club Fridays, and then on Saturday you've got either us or alternating with Countdown to Doomsday. And then main podcast on Sundays. And yeah, Nerdy Up North really does have something for all your nerdy needs.
we do indeed.
And with that, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and it's time to sign off.
Yes, so keep your hearts full and your fandoms fierce, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye bye.
Bye.